Hello, ladies and gentlemen, it's the Pubcast. We had a bit of silence there. A minute's silence for the death of Sweat Rag. What are you doing then, bloke? You're looking at colour schemes, ain't you? You're looking at colour schemes for
My
mechanical
eyes went funny. Yeah, no, my contact lens fell out this morning when I put it in, and I think it's got dirt in it or something. I think I might need to take it out again, but I'll do that later. Yeah, no, I was looking at so the other day I painted I say painted. I started painting a Cataphren destroyer, but a breacher, a Cataphren battle servitor in breacher configuration with breacher armor and close combat weaponry, and they are OP as all shit. Allow me, but I'm trying to find a color scheme, but allow me to read some of the rules out. Now, you guys may not understand this if you're not a 40k madman or woman, but it doesn't matter because we will educate you. So, what we've got
like
here,
it or not, you will be educated.
Good, we've got Cataphren breachers. Now, I intend to use these. They're 150 points. There's 3 of them. Okay. They have, I've run the stats. So they've got weapon skill 3, ballistic skill 3, strength 5, toughness 5, wounds 2, initiative 3, and attacks 1. Leadership 8, save 3+.
That doesn't sound too rancid.
No, it doesn't. But when mine have got hydraulic claws on them, that means they're strength 10 now in close combat.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So that makes them slightly insta-killy rancid to loads of shit.
If something's strength 10, that's basically the highest strength in the game, and if something is double the toughness of something else in strength, so like my Terminator is toughness 4, and that Cataphren breacher is strength 10, that means that he can just instantly kill the Terminator if he hits him. It just wipes him out. He doesn't get an armor save. Except the Terminator would, because he'd have
he'd get his invuln, wouldn't he? Yeah, but he would.
A normal Space Marine would just be dead. He'd just be like paste on the floor.
So the interesting thing about these guys is they have a special rule. It's called Heavy Battle Servitors. Models with this special rule cannot make run moves, okay, but can fire up to 2 weapons in each shooting phase. Furthermore, models with this special rule count as stationary when firing heavy or salvo weapons even after they've moved. So these guys don't even care. They just keep driving around and firing their weapons at you, but they can't run. But that is pretty good because they've got some horrendous weaponry. Even that they're breachers. These are the close. I mean, those guys, the close combat variant. They're not the ranged variant. If you can see, with like massive cannons. And what they've got, I've got 2 with torsion cannons, and these are ridiculous.
Testicular.
Testicular torsion. That would be bad. And if you do have that, please go to doctors quick, as they will die. The blood flow will stop, and they will die, and then you will subsequently die after that.
From what I've heard, testicular torsion is unbearably painful. So if you've got it, and somehow you think that's fine, then first of all, congratulations on your ability to withstand inhuman amounts of pain. Secondly, go to the fucking doctor if that hurts that much.
Your bollocks should not feel like you are constantly being kicked in it. If it does, go to the doctor. Anyway, maybe
medical
like
advice from Stylosa.
Yeah. Hey, I'm a Wikipedia PhD surgeon. So we have the when I find the rules for it, but I know they're ridiculous. The torsion cannon. Now, there are 2 of these in the unit I've got. The other one is a heavy arc rifle. But the torsion cannon, this is, well, I'll read its stupid description because they're always stupid. It's 40k. Matter grasped in the field projected by a torsion cannon is mercilessly twisted by a torque so powerful that it rips, buckles, and ruins. Okay, that's what it does. So it rips you apart. It's basically like a grav cannon, I think, but it's a torsion cannon. It's a fancy Mechanicum version. So it's 24-inch range, okay. It's strength 8, AP 1. So it's pretty good, and it's heavy 1. And then it's gravitic contortion. Now, what the hell is this? Well, it's a special rule, and this is ridiculous, because what this does, sir, is each time a non-vehicle model suffers an unsaved wound from this weapon, it loses D3 wounds instead of 1.
Oh, I see.
However, each time a vehicle model suffers a penetrating hit from this weapon, it loses D3 hull points instead of 1. So these guys could just blast a tank away instantly. It's worth nothing.
So they can't run, but they can just drive around constantly shooting shit, and the stuff that they shoot is horrendous and will rip you apart.
Yeah, but only 2 of them have got that, and they've got strength 10 close combat weapon. The heavy arc rifle, which one of them I gave him for flavour. I mean, really, 3 torsion cannons would just be stupidly OP. But I just like whatever.
I gave him for flavour.
Yeah, it's like have this, mate, because it looks fancy.
Have a bit of flavour.
Now, the heavy arc rifle sends out shallow. I can't even read that word. Of crackling energy forming triple helixes as they blast forth. Interesting.
What does that mean?
I don't know, but it's 36-inch range, strength 6, AP 5, heavy 2, but it's haywire, so that's interesting.
Yeah.
And that's it. The other bits for the heavy grav cannon underneath, which I think the other guys get. Yeah, yeah. So they're pretty good, like really good, like really, really good. Like you could send them. Like there is nothing really that would. Well, apart from like long range last cannon fire or something, would probably be bad to them. But like they've got an answer for elite infantry vehicles, and then they can beat you up in close combat. So it's stupid. And they're only 150 points, and there's 3 of them. There's 6 wounds, and they're toughness 5. So they're not that. They're pretty good. And they've got 3+ save.
See, I've been. I read something on Reddit the other day where someone was speculating that the Chaos Space Marines Codex might be next. And that got me interested because I've got a Chaos Vindicator back there that needs assembling, and I've got a full squad of tactical Chaos guys and a Demon Prince ready to go. But the Codex is totally shit. And
It is really shit.
I didn't want the Khorne Demon King Codex because like I've basically got Khorne Demon King anyway for Age of Sigmar. I mean, I know they're bloodbound, but it's just
this is why we're talking about this as well, guys, because we played Age of Sigmar. We'll talk about this straight after this.
But I was like, I want to paint my Khorne guys for Age of Sigmar, but I do want to do something with my Chaos guys because I've essentially got a Space Marine army now. All I need to do is get a Storm Raven, and I've got a Space Marine army.
It's like me. I've pretty much just got a Space Marine army, and I'm like.
So I was looking at it, and I was like, should do something with Chaos Space Marines, but the Codex is totally shit. So then when I saw the guy going, well, they need an update. Like all of them have been updated apart from them. Even if like the Blood Angels got shafted because they were released just before they started doing crazy formation. They'll be up next. I was like, okay, awesome. I went to the usual place for these rumours, Naftka or Natka, whatever you want to call it. Fayet 2-1. It's got like 8 names. I don't know what the hell you're supposed to call it. The blog where he puts all the rumours out. Couldn't see anything about it. So now I don't know what to do. Because really, Chaos Space Marines should have a new codex soon. They're like 2 editions behind at this point.
It's probably worth a gamble. They've got to be next. I mean, isn't it Tower coming up or something, and those guys? And
there's like Tower have already got like crazy units, like the Riptide and all that shit. They can hold their own. They're still quite strong. Whereas Chaos Space Marines have got nothing. Like they've got Mauler Fiend formate, not Mauler Fiend.
Murder Pack in it or something.
Yeah, Hellbreed. That's it. They've got like Murder Packs. They've got formations for like one thing. And Khorne Demonkin has got formations, but Chaos Space Marines haven't. So I'm kind of tempted to just do it anyway. But I was going to go Iron Warriors. I'm not doing Iron Warriors anymore because I've already had Iron Warriors, and actually doing Iron Warriors again has put me off doing it because I'm like, I've already done this. Like, I've already painted this scheme. Admittedly, it was a long time ago, and I was shit at painting at the time. But it's like it's not very imaginative. It's the same thing I've already done before. So now I need to work out like what to do with them, like what to paint them and stuff. But I think I'm actually going to do something with them because I want a 40k game. But at the moment, it would be my Strike Force Ultra against your guys, and I think the Strike Force is quite strong, especially since you like yours was something you had, wasn't it? It wasn't like built.
Yeah, mine was just like I was basically it was rule of cool completely. I've got Vanguard Veterans, for fuck's sake, the worst things in the game, which didn't even really get a fucking updated with a new codex. I was hoping that maybe they'd have some sort of special rule that makes them at least AP2 or something when they attack, but no, they got nothing. They're just shit. They're just basically assault marines with weapons that cost a shitload more, and they're just the same, and will just die in a hole. I don't know. Strike Force Ultra, that's the one where you can basically you're all in reserve, aren't you, at turn 1, and you can just come in and just. It will be bad.
It's just
all Terminators and close. Yeah.
It's like 20 Terminators, a Terminator Captain, a Venerable Dreadnought, which mine's armed with 2 twin-linked autocannons, a Land Raider of some description, and a Storm Raven. Now, the only thing is, I've got Centurions as well, which are part of Strike Force Ultra. But at this point, I think it's worth having Strike Force Ultra as a formation and then going like unbound with the Centurions
as well,
because otherwise there's not enough space. Like there's not enough space after you've taken Strike Force Ultra in an 1850 game to put anything else in the formation. Like you literally can't take anything else. You can't take an allied detachment because there's like not quite enough points to make it like anything. It's not anything. So
I don't think it would be, I don't think it'd be a total whitewash because you always forget that I've got the Knight Crusader. I mean, he's quite powerful. I mean, he is like got something retarded, like 12 AP2 shots out of his fucking.
Yeah, I always forget.
His cannon, I'm pretty sure, and you know, and if you had the pie plate melter,
I'll get an Imperial Knight, and I won't take Centurion, so we can have an Imperial Knight and Space Marine fight.
Ridiculous, but yeah, like that force. Like I was saying on the stream when I recorded it the other day when I was doing the painting stream, not the game when we play. I'm getting much better in myself now, and I would actually like to start having games with people. And I know that what I've got there is not actually very good. I mean, it's okay, and it's funny to mess around with your mate. But if you went anywhere, and like if I drove up to the big local places or whatever, and I was like, here you go, I just get wrecked, and it'd be like, well, that's great. I mean, I don't want to be a power gamer, but I want to have something which is viable. That's not just I've got this because I like the look of it, which is fine. That is totally fine, guys. But not when like. I mean, it's fine if I was playing against Kiri or something. Yeah, we're just dicking about, but not if I wanted to actually have some enjoyment out of it. You wouldn't get enjoyment out of a game if you just had a totally shit list just because you like the look of the models and you were like, yeah, this is, and then you died. Yeah. Anyway, we played Age of Sigmar and we streamed this, and this will be on the channel. You're watching this Saturday, so Sunday it'll be out on the channel. Just a unedited, massive mega VOD of about 3 hours of us playing the game. And what did you think about that?
I actually really enjoyed it. Like, I really enjoyed playing Age of Sigmar. It felt very weird because we have had a game of 40k against each other where we just got all the models that we had painted pretty much.
Yeah, we're just sticking around with them, yeah.
We had some scenery and stuff in that, and so it's a bit more kind of in-depth in that respect, but that took a long time. Like, it took longer than 3 hours. I think it was close to 5.5 hours or something in the end, and the forces were, I'd say they're about equivalent in terms of how many models, or like strength-wise.
Yeah. They were pretty equivalent. Yeah.
But Age of Sigmar, I actually really enjoyed it. Like it is quite a bit more simple in a way. In another way, it's more complicated because if you set in that whole kind of player one's turn, player two's turn, player one's turn, player two's turn. Age of Sigmar doesn't do that, so you've got battle phase. So it's like you have the first phase, which is player one turn, then player two turn. Then you roll to see who goes first in the next battle phase, which took us by surprise. And I think we
kept getting confused, didn't we? Because in the like, if it's Kiri's go and Kiri's like done all of his movement, he's shooting, and he's gone into combat with me, and he's just attacked one of my guys. Then it's my go in that combat phase to attack him with something. Then it's his go. Then it's my go. Then it's his go until everyone's gone. And then that's the end of the turn. Then we roll dice to see whose turn it is now. It's simple. It is more simplistic. I mean, with the combat stuff, one thing which I found kind of funny is there's just no initiative, is there? So it's just like everyone goes.
Everyone just goes.
Like, and there was some strange situations, wasn't there, where like I think I had the Lord Relictor, and he could have attacked your Chaos Lord guy, your Corn Lord, but the Corn Lord was always going to attack him anyway. So he may as well attack something else because somebody else could have attacked it, and it just became, I don't know, it was weird. Like, I say no initiative, it's like everyone's on the same initiative, isn't it? Because if I killed you in combat, you're still not dead, you still get to hit out with whatever before you then die, and it's, at least we think that's how we did it. But honestly, I thought it was enjoyable. Like, we did have no scenery, and we just walked the armies into each other, and we totally forgot about the detachment fucking, because they were in formations, and we totally forgot about their rules, because like, I'm telling you now, it would have been like mine. I was the Storm Host, the Stormcast Eternal, and it was Storm Host Brotherhood or something. Everybody can deep strike, but there's no roll. You just happens. You get to deploy 9 inches away from an enemy unit. So you just put them on the table. Then you would move. Then you would charge. So you're totally in, unless you roll double ones and double ones again. And that would have meant badness for like Bannerman, because he is like a prime target for the Chaos Freaks. Whipman would have probably been fucking immediately engaged. I tell you what I would have done. Bannerman would have had the prosecutors, the winged guys would have just landed, threw the hammers at him, and then attacked him. Yeah. The Retributor guys would have went after probably the Chaos, because they are like the hardest thing on the table by like a mile. I mean, I don't even know what they've got. Three wounds,
lasted,
and they can. What the hell? They do 2 damage a hit, and they get 2. I think they had 2 attacks, didn't they? They get I've got the rules. I've got the fucking rules, man. I have the rules. The rules are disgusting. They're disgusting for these guys, and they're not like massively impressive or like crazy rules, but they're just like
they are just really solid. They're really solid units. They don't die. They do a lot of damage, and they just do not die. And it's like they wiped out like my sort of heavy hitters, as it were. They just wiped them out, and that was like the start of that game was quite bad for my side, just because my like armored guys, the guys I'd say are the elites in the army.
Yeah, they just got whitewashed.
They just got whitewashed. They just died. It was really bad. But then again, some of the other stuff that's in the Khorne Force is just crazy strong, like absolutely crazy. The Lord is mad. He's really powerful, Chaos Lord, and the big winner really, the guy who did all of the damage pretty much for my army, was Kargarath. That guy.
Yeah, the Korgorath thing, the big fucking because the thing with him, when he's involved in combat, when he kills somebody, he gets a wound back, and that kept him alive. That did, because he was like dead at points, but he just kept coming back. The fucking arsehole. That guy. Well, he wasn't dead, like he'd never died, but like would have done.
And he got a crazy number of attacks as well. Yeah. So he had ranged attacks that was like he had 3 of those. And then he had 5 normal attacks, but because he was within range of the guy with the banner, he got an extra attack. So he was pumping out 10 attacks a turn by himself.
It has to be said, because of how small our table was. It was kind of silly with the commander powers and the banners and shit, because all of my army never had to take a battle shock test, because we were in 24-inch range of thingy, and it meant yours were always mega buffed. But
I will say though that 18 inches is a long range buff.
It is,
even for like
it's 24 for mine, for the storm guy.
It's like an extra attack for anyone within 18 inches and the thing is, it applies to the entire unit. So if one of your guys, if one model in a unit is within range of the banner, every model in that unit gets that buff. So conceivably, you could have guys, especially in that big 20-man clump that I had, who are like 24 inches away, but they're still affected by it because there's one guy who's within range of it. And it's a bit crazy. But the thing is, all of it's a bit crazy. And I can't really speak as to balance, except for the fact that we fought it out to the bitter end, and both sides like lasted until there was like one model left each, pretty much. Yeah. It was right down to the wire. If it had just been like whichever side has more models left on the table, or like a to the death fight, then that seemed pretty balanced, because everyone just got involved in a massive brawl, and at the end there was one guy standing, which was my Korgorath, who had like 2 wounds. So it's not like everyone was just like capitulating all over the place or massively OP. It seemed kind of balanced in that respect, but it does feel like it will kind of devolve into a massive brawl really quickly, and it kind of did. But it was still fun. So
it is an enjoyable. Yeah, I think it's enjoyable. I think the box set is pretty much balanced as much as you could probably get in this game, because what you've got is a lot of like heavily random elements. Like when my Lord Celestant was fighting your Chaos Lord, my guy attacked you first, and I think he inflicted something stupid like 5 wounds onto your guy, which is mental. Like, but he could have inflicted loads more, and because he had the same rule as your guy, where they're rolling D3s, and one of them was D6 for wounds that he would roll. I mean, that's just ridiculous. He could have hit you and then inflicted 6 wounds on you from one attack. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And they were all Rend -1 as well. But then when your guy replied, he got slightly better with the rolls, and it was actually enough to kill mine. And it's like, so it was like. It felt like a good fight. Like there were 2 mental guys going at each other, but it's also you don't know who's going to win. I mean, you could win, I could win. We just don't know, and that's what I think makes it interesting. I mean, when I was saying we was playing it, it's kind of like I guess how Orcs play in 40k or did play in older versions, where they were just like really random, like random things could happen. You can't. I mean, I know 40k is a random game anyway. You whatever the dice says, what happens, but you can control it, can't you? Like your formation, the units you build, you can, you're not gonna go into close combat with a fucking, I don't know, you're not gonna send tactical marines into close combat against assault terminators, are you? Why would you do that? That isn't stupid. You're gonna lose, but you might kill some of them. But in this game, it seems that is not like you could send your crazy mental idiot guys who have got no armor save into attack my Lord Celestin and kill him.
Yeah.
And because they've got 70 attacks or something, because they've got a load of
yeah.
You know, it could be like, whoa, that. So I don't know. I think it's pretty good though, Mr. Kirioth. And I think the actual recording of the thing we did was, it obviously was dodgy because it was the first time we tried it. And we're in like an oven, and the sweat rag was born.
The sweat rag served me well. I hope
I enjoyed it. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Are you going to go out and buy more models for this?
Well, honestly, I never used to look at the fantasy stuff because I wasn't interested in Warhammer Fantasy Battles. They just seemed like too big and complicated, and I don't know. It just didn't appeal to me. But there are some really good models for Warhammer Fantasy that now I am interested in because of having. Never even heard it. Muted the microphone. What a pro!
I heard it.
I didn't have time to mute all of it, son. Give me a chance.
Bastard.
But yeah, there are some really nice models for fantasy that I would never have bought before because I want to be able to models for something. Now that I know Age of Sigmar is fun and I enjoyed it, I'm kind of curious to know how other like fantasy races work, like the undead stuff, like Nagash and some of the crazy models they've got, like some of the big tree men for the wood elves and stuff.
Yeah, but what I'm thinking is like, are you now not like, oh god, 40k me up, baby, instead of just because 40k is a better game.
It is.
I like the model, like I like the Stormcast models. Like I almost feel like, for me, honestly, I feel like what I've got there is fine, and I don't mind playing games over and over again against your Chaos guys with that because it's going to be different every time.
Yeah.
One game could be a total whitewash. Another game could be a total whitewash for you. Or it could be a really close game. Or when we start doing things like using terrain, because in Age of Sigmar, terrain has effects on it. So, you know, one might fucking wreck your morale or something. Well, wreck your bravery. So it's, or one like might be dangerous terrain, which obviously you get in 40k and stuff like that. I think it's weird. Like, I think I'd like some of the other Stormcast models. Like, I think I would like... I'm laughing because I can hear him blowing his nose, but you can't.
Professional.
Maybe like some of the ranged guys or something, because I do think the game feels a bit weird with like no ranged.
Yeah,
like I've got like
one thing
one ranged attack. Well,
that was one thing I didn't like.
But the Choreograph's range was like 6 inches. It was like shit.
Yeah. I don't know. I quite like to get some of the like the death stuff because some of those new models are really good. But the thing is, I feel like it would play differently. I feel like the different armies would, you know, they'd interact differently and they'd play differently, and you would have to use them in different ways, the same that you would with 40k. So it's interested me a lot. I liked it more than I thought I would. The other thing as well is that the fact is, it is an easier game to play, and like you could sit down as we did, having never played it before, and knock out an enjoyable game in 3 hours. I don't think that we could do a game of 40k, 1850 points, in anything under like 5, frankly. I don't.
Oh, yeah, no.
So in that respect, that's another thing that I quite like the idea of, the fact that we could, like, I could turn up at yours and be like, let's have a game, we've got a couple of hours, and we'd be able to have a game, and it would still be enjoyable, it'd still be fun, but we wouldn't be like locked into something for 5 hours, or, you know, have to stop it one day and then go and do something else and then come back to it the next day and all that stuff. I like that accessibility that it's got, and I prefer the accessibility that it's got to like, I guess, to 40k, just because of that. I still prefer the imagery of 40k a lot, and I'm not going to say I prefer the models because I don't like the Space Marine models anymore. Now that they've shown that they can do proper scaled guys.
Yeah, like, you know what? I've always felt to myself like I would like to put together like an actual canon chapter of Space Marines. Like, you know, I messed around painting some Imperial fists or, you know, something like that. I'd like to have just a chapter and then just say like, I mean, let's take Imperial fists. I'd like to have like a bunch of rhinos, like maybe 3 or 4 full tactical squads, and then stuff like that. You know, maybe some Vindicators or the Centurion guys or something. You know, something which is kind of makes sense with what they would be doing. But I cannot now look at Marine models anymore, and I look at them and they look really terrible to me because I've seen what the Stormcast Eternal look like, and they look really good. Like they're in proportion. It's just that it's the thigh size on the leg, isn't it? It isn't right on Marines, and Marines they do look like got a gun, and it's like
it's really frustrating because the rest of it isn't too bad. I think maybe the arms could do with being a little bit longer, but only a little bit. But like and the chest
this
is
is
a
why.
bit stumpy. But
Okay,
it's
I've
mostly
got
the legs. It's mostly the legs that are the problem. You can lengthen the legs. People have done true scale Marines where the legs have been
Yeah, but
lengthened
that's a lot
and
of
not
work,
changed
though.
anything else. Oh yeah, no, I wouldn't be
Yeah.
able to do it. But it looks really good. And all they've done is lengthen the legs. That's it. And the fact is, you can quite clearly do it because they've done it with Stormcast Eternals. They look way better. They look way better than Space Marines. They should be
Well,
on the same scale.
this
But
is
they
the
ain't.
Cataphren. The Cataphren guys I bought months and months ago. That made me think, well, why can't I just do a Mechanicum Force? Like Skitarii, I don't want to be. But I mean, obviously, I wouldn't. If I was going to do it, I wouldn't use the Skitarii Codex. I'd just use the fucking Cult Mechanicus one because that just is everything. Fuck Skitarii.
Yeah.
But if you look at the Skitarii model compared to a Space Marine, the Skitarii is as. I think it's actually taller than a Space Marine, right?
Yeah.
And, pardon, it shouldn't be. But
this
it
is the problem. It's like
Imperial Guard is the ultimate example. A guardsman is the same size as a Marine.
Yeah.
A Marine is like a
It's supposed to be at
9 foot
least
fucking
a head taller. At least.
He's like 9 foot, and he's got to
In
be
fact,
9, 8.
You
Something
can see. I'm
stupid.
going to switch over to the desktop here, and there's a really good example of someone who's done true scale next to an Imperial
Give me a
Guard.
link so I can have a look.
Like a head and a bit taller. It's way better. Do the image. Bloody photo bucket.
Magic.
So that looks way better. Way better.
Yeah.
I mean, you could argue that the Space Marine still isn't tall enough, but the fact is, the scale is okay there. The scale is okay because you can tell that he is a superhuman armored warrior, because bigger than the human next to him. And yeah, that's the problem. Like, I don't know if I'd want to do another Space Marine force now, just simply down to the fact that the Stormcast Eternals exist. I'm happy with my Terminator army because I think Terminators don't look quite as bad as normal Space Marines for scale. The massive chunkiness of them kind of makes it downplayed that the legs are on the right side.
Yeah, I think Terminators are fine. Yeah, I don't mind Terminators. They are a little bit bigger, and I don't mind them. But all that, I mean, before I didn't really mind that much about Marines, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
But it was just until I seen in the flesh these Stormcast Eternal guys, and I was just like, these Liberators look absolutely amazing. Like they are the right size.
They look like Space Marines, but without Space Marine helmets, and that's the big problem. When people are going like, "Oh, they're Sigmarines," they are, but they're that's not the worst thing. The worst thing is that they look better than Space Marines, even though they're clearly based off them. It's like they look better than the thing they're copying, and that's really shitty. And that's another kind of reason why it's like, we're going to do these Chaos Space Marines, but I'm going to use the rest of the legs that I got for them. So they've got like mechanical legs and stuff. So they've got like robotic parts. They're still not to scale, but they don't look quite as goofy as the Chaos Space Marine legs that Games Workshop do. But after that, I don't know if I'm going to do any other Space Marine based stuff. Like, I think it would be other armies, just because nothing in 40k is the right scale, but Space Marines especially are not the right scale. It's like everything is not quite right, but Space Marines are the worst example of all of them, and they're the worst like looking because of it. Like, they're supposed to be, like, as you said, 9 foot tall armored giants, but they look the same size as an Eldar warrior and look the same size as an Imperial Guard, and it's like it just doesn't fit.
It's definitely a problem. The scale of the game is definitely a problem when it comes down to the models, because the newer models are, the scale is almost better. Like the Cataphren guys I've got are really big. Like they're like what you would expect a servitor, like what you'd expect the battle servitor to look like. It's got the torso of a man with shitloads of armor on it, and it's extended down the bottom, so it can be plugged into a fucking tank tracks, and it's moving along. So compared to a Terminator, it's like 2 foot taller if you were to sort of scale them up. It's like a fucking beast. It's like,
but this is another problem. This is why I'm looking at some of the newer fantasy stuff and liking it more than 40k stuff, is because like, the scale is massive. The scale is really, really massive. Like, look at Nagash. It's huge. It's a massive model. You've got things like the Mortis engine. Again, it's a big model, and it looks big. It looks like the right size for what it is. And you don't really get that from 40k a lot of the time. And it's really mostly Space Marines you don't get it with, because they are oversized. Everything they have is oversized. But they've made it so that it's not oversized compared to everything else, even though it should be. And like, once you realise that, it's kind of like, oh, these guys don't look as good they used to. Like they just don't seem as fun by being small, which is a weird thing to say, but when you're sitting there painting them for hours on end, and then you put them all together, and then you stick a Stormcast Eternal next to them, it's like,
you're like, look at this guy, he's like a beast. Anyway, right, games we played this week then that have not been tabletop games, still classes as podcast content, because we are down the Unit Lost pub, you bastards. Although I don't have anything to drink either, so I don't.
It's also 100 degrees in here. I should have brought the sweat rag back with me.
Yeah,
it's so hot.
I've got one of the lights on. I don't have the other light on, but it is hot. I've got my fan on behind me, but I actually went out a little bit just before we started recording this, so I got a little bit of air in. But provided I'm not here for 3 hours, it'll be fine, I think. Anyway, also I've got LED lights coming, which will be better to get rid of these fucking things, because these things you can see behind me in the roof, I don't know whether you can see them. Those are LEDs, and they're not hot. Well, it's very, very minimal heat, but these fluorescent lamps are killers. All right, so games I played this week anyway. I played Call of Duty Black Ops 3 multiplayer beta. Now, you laugh, and I laugh, but I didn't realise this was 60 FPS. It's 1080p and it's 60 FPS, and it don't look too bad, right? Obviously, it's not next gen, but it's passable, right? And I'm afraid to say it's gone back in time, but we all knew go back in time because for some reason the diehard COD fan base did not like Advanced Warfare's movement, which I did, because that was like
change,
almost like an arena shooter where you could exosuit movement.
That's
it's weird because this is further in the future.
Don't like change.
It is
different. Don't like
it's further in the future though. Black Ops 3 is, right? So what they've done is you still have kind of exosuits, so you can do a double jump, but it's a really small double jump. What you've got is parkour. So if you run and jump next to a wall, you'll go like that and run across the wall. But as you run, you don't run level. Like you slowly fall down the wall.
Yeah, it's
actually kind of nice. It means you can like it's like Titanfall, but it's nowhere near as good as Titanfall's parkour. Because Titanfall's was like you could like run all kinds of shit and jump from ledge to ledge and everything. In this, you sort of can, but it's not as good. It's much slower. So the way the classes work in this are, you're like a certain type of operative. Yeah, you're basically a cyborg. That's what you are. When you get a certain number of kills, it seems, or do a certain number of damage, your like cyborg specific thing will become available. And I picked a guy of which I cannot remember his goddamn name, but he was he had like this EMP cannon or something, and it would go like EMP charged, deployed, and I'd deploy it, and he's gonna just turn into this massive ion cannon. I'd be like, right then. I ran around the corner and instantly died, and it was gone. I was like, great. Anyway, then I got it again, and then I shot somebody with it, and it's like an AoE blast, and it like wiped them out. I was like, oh, this is pretty good. He also had a rocket launcher and like an AK-47, because he would have an AK-47 in the future, or whatever. So, and that's I'm afraid that's basically it. It's just Call of Duty, how it has been for years and years and years. But where Advanced Warfare gave you advanced movement and rapid movement around the map really quick, you could jump all over the place, and it delayed the time to kill a bit, so you'd have to shoot somebody quite a bit for them to die. It wasn't just like you shot them and they instantly died like they generally do in Call of Duty. What we've got now is it's not as extreme as older Call of Duty, so you don't die instantly, but you still die pretty quick. The movement, it's sort of gone back again to this linear thing, which I've always gone on about Call of Duty, where I've spawned here, Kiri spawned there, Kiri kills me, Kiri keeps coming, and like now I spawn there, so Kiri's going to get me again, and I know where Kiri's going to be. Instead of this, everybody's all higgledy-piggledy mess. And yeah, it's Call of Duty, so I don't really know what else to say about it. It's just a Call of Duty multiplayer experience with a shitload of unlocks, a load of different of these operator-style classes. You're a cyborg who's got a crazy... I think what they've done is, you know how you get a kill streak in Call of Duty?
Yeah.
You've almost got like a mini kill streak, which is like your cyborg ability. That's like when your gun unlocks, or... this guy can go back in time, which isn't really going back in time. It just teleports him back to where it was a few seconds ago on the map, which is kind of nice, because you run around and just disappear somebody else if you're getting shot. But you have to have your power active, I think, before you can do that. So it's like you can't just do it all the time, I don't think.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a step backwards for their multiplayer, but is it something I'll mess about on the PC? Probably, but it's not going to be nothing I'd be playing with any kind of like vigor sort of thing.
And of course, you've got to play the single-player campaign, because their campaign is always obscenely ridiculous and stupid
I'll play
in every
that,
single way. Which is like, it still amazes me there are people who've never played the single player campaign for Call of Duty, because it's like really shit action films. It's like a guilty pleasure. It's like playing a really shit action film. So all those stupid like 80s daft two cops go on a rampage, but it's like the guy they're chasing is a criminal leader who also wants to blow up the world. It's just all kinds of stupid stuff like that, and it's always fun. But
the thing is that doesn't sell. They don't care. That doesn't sell the game. What sells the game is the multiplayer. And what happened last time is Advanced Warfare had good sales, but they were not as good as Black Ops 2, which had like the best sales. So what they've done is they've basically made Black Ops 2 again in the form of Black Ops 3, and just slightly changed some bits and pieces. But admittedly, it does run at 1080p, 60 FPS. So and hats off to COD for this. It doesn't have aimbot. So it's much harder to play than like Destiny or Halo or something. You know, like when you get near someone, it just aims. This doesn't, and it made me really shit because I'm not used to using the controller. And I was like, you know, the first game I played, I think I died 14 times and got about 6 kills. I was like at the bottom of the team, like totally wrecked. I was like, whoa. But yeah, that was one of the games I played this week. What about you, Mr. Kirioth?
I still want to know how many people are going to complain about 60 FPS and say there's going to be at least one.
I don't know whether they. What was the old one? Advanced Warfare PS4 FPS.
I thought that was 30. I didn't think that was 60. But I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong about
that. Doesn't even say. I can't. It's not at 1080p. It was 900p or something. Both run at 60 FPS.
Apparently, it's 60 FPS. Yeah, it is 60
FPS.
FPS.
So maybe it was then, yeah. So maybe they won't be too angry.
I apologise then. Although it's a weird resolution. But yeah, it's still apparently 60 FPS. A more consistent 60 FPS on Xbox One than PS4. Yeah, so I'd say the only game, really... No, I've played 2 games. One of which the entire experience is on the channel. Which is plug and play, which doesn't count as a game. It's just
explain that to me, because I'm watching this.
I'm off my face.
Yeah, what the fuck, bro?
I'm losing my brain.
Explain plug and play to me though, because I mean I'm watching and I'm like I don't understand like what's going on. I like the bit towards the end of the video where you've got the you're having a conversation. It's like, do you love me? I love you. What? What? I don't love you enough.
Yeah,
Can I plug into you or whatever?
You say explain it to you. I can't. I don't know what it. To me, it's like someone's art project. Someone has made an art project and then put it on Steam, because it's like it's got little bits of kind of Monty Python-esque stuff, like the very start of the game with the 2 long fingers coming on the screen like that.
Yeah, but it was coming together. Yeah.
But there's like kind of choral like hymn music in the background. That to me felt like something from a Monty Python sketch where they have the animations. And they have the kind of
the
sound effects and the foot, yeah. It felt like that, but the rest of it, it's not. Firstly, it's not a game. I'm just going to go out and say that because it doesn't. There's no gameplay. There's nothing.
Where is it from? Like, what year is it from? Is it just?
I think it's fairly recent. Let me find it.
Because I didn't even know it existed. Like, and I was like, what the hell is he playing here?
As always, someone just sent it me. So I think it's been around a while. 5th of March it was released. It's just like interactive performance art. That's all it is. There's no fail state. There's no kind of objective. There's no puzzles really. I mean, you could kind of class like doing the plugging into stuff as a puzzle. And there's a bit where the light switch that you click, you can actually take the switch out and plug into it. That's the only bit where I got stuck in the game because I was just like. I don't know what I didn't even know what was going on anyway. So how you're supposed to work it out, I don't know. But I just found that randomly. It's even the description on Steam is just run, hit, switch, fall, love, plug, pull, and push, and that's the description. That kind of says it all. It's not really a game. It's someone wanting to make a random kind of arty. Daft.
It's
just like
totally surreal, fucking stupid experience. Yeah,
it's just a surrealist experience that was just done for the hell of it. If you look at the reviews, then there are people obviously taking the piss. Like someone here who's got 125 hours on record.
Right,
it's a 15-minute long experience. He's obviously just left it running for a few days. But even looking at the comments on the game, it's all recommended and positive and stuff, but I think it's just part of the joke. It's like it's just a stupid thing that someone did to make people go, "What the fuck was that?" And then they've gone, "What the fuck is that?" And then gone to Steam and done the usual, made a guy plug his head into some other guy's arse, 10 out of 10. The usual stuff. Stuff like that. I don't have a problem with as such, as long as you sort of understand what you're getting into when you get it. But I will say that £2 for that is outrageous. 15 minutes of time. That's all it is, right? There might be different dialogue options, which I didn't explore because why? But it's never going to result in anything.
Do you do multiple playthroughs?
It's never going to result in anything meaningful. It's never going to result in any sort of satisfying conclusion. It's just someone's dick about project. And £2. I know you're probably going to go, "Oh, £2 is much, Kiri," but £2 for 15 minutes of sitting there going, "Eh?" That does not sound like a fucking deal to me. Not
Come again?
Not when there are other games that admittedly might be older and stuff that you can get for that kind of price in like a sale or something that will provide you like 60 plus hours and aren't just like one model or at least one drawing copied and pasted and then animated in turn. It's like it's far too expensive for what it is, whatever it is, but I'm not sure what it is anyway. So I don't know. It was interesting to play, but it was just weird, and I kind of don't want stuff like that to become too much of a trend.
Well, you tell us about Volume now, because the next one we'll talk about we've both kind of played, so I don't want
to. Volume. You know what? I'll put it on the,
tell us about Volume.
The screen.
Because this is the.
I've muted it. So this is from Mike Bithell. Volume
of Thomas Was Alone fame, and if you don't know who he is, he's sort of like a rock star celebrity indie dev. He's like one of these guys who was around pumping out, well, I say pumping out, he made Thomas Was Alone. He may have made other stuff, actually, I'm not sure, but Thomas Was Alone was like the big one. The very minimalist style platformer thing, I think it was. The same sort of time as Braid when that came out. They're like the rock star first wave, the first indie games that made like a big impact and sort of, almost created the industry kind of thing and whatnot. That's who he is. And he's been in bed with Sony, because I've seen him at loads of Sony conferences. It's like, oh, here's Mike, and he's like talking about his game Volume, how it's going to be exclusive to PS4 and all this shit. And I actually thought this was exclusive, didn't I, Mr. Kirioth? Because I was like, hey, here's Volume. It's PS4 exclusive. And then you were just like, why is it on Steam then? And I'm like, what? And then I looked at it and I'm like, hang on a minute. So I'm reading what I've been sent by Sony, and it says a console exclusive to PS4 and PS Vita. Well, of course, they're a bunch of arseholes, because their wording, what it actually means, it does make sense, but it also does not make sense at all. It means it's exclusive to those consoles, but not exclusive to those consoles.
Yeah.
It is exclusive to those consoles. You see, and I'm like, what? You wankers. You sold me with your bullshit.
And that was just a complete coincidence, because you said Volume, and I remember reading something about it, and the first thing I did was, I knew it was an indie game, so I went to Steam. I don't know whether that says something bad about me, that I make assumptions about indie games, or that I expect certain types of games to be on Steam, but I just literally went to Steam, and I was like, okay, cool, what is it? And then it was just there. So... and even on their little trailer at the end, it's like coming to PS4 and PS Vita. Doesn't actually say anything about Steam on it, which is weird. But
it's dead weird.
I never played Thomas Was Alone, so I can't comment on that game. But
this is nothing like it, though. This is like a stealth, survival thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I hope it was more interesting than this, because what this is essentially is it's like a modern retelling of Robin Hood for like the digital age. So you're playing a character called Rob Loxley, and you are basically stealing stuff from a company called Gisborne, which is Guy of Gisborne from Robin Hood. One of the baddies, and the gameplay is incredibly simple. Like, it's really simple. You can like crouch against low walls and hide. You've got to steal diamonds, and you've got to avoid patrols and cameras. That's pretty much all there is to it. You can whistle to make noises. There's a little ability you get where you can fire something that kind of bounces around the walls, and on the last hit on a wall, it makes a noise, and those noises attract the patrols. So there'll be points where you need to get into a room, but there is a guy quite clearly standing in the room. So how do you get in? But you've got to distract the guy out of the room, and then you can get in, but then you've got to try and get out again before he comes back, because they always return to the place that they started. And to begin with, I really enjoyed it. I liked it. It kind of reminded me of Invisible Ink, if you remember that. We did a video on that a while ago.
It does remind me of Invisible Ink, yeah.
The problem is, though, that Invisible Ink is just a more complex game with more mechanics and more features. So you've kind of just got the noise and crouch mechanic in volume. And over the course of 10 levels, which was 10% of the story, so I'm assuming there's levels total, nothing else comes into play.
Isn't the narrator supposed to be a big thing with this? And the noise, the music? Yeah.
Yeah, that's something else as well. I do say in the video, the sound design is really good. Like, the music is fantastic. The narration is really good quality. The actual character, Rob Loxley, his voice is nowhere near as good. It's a bit jarring, because Andy Serkis is obviously like a professional voice actor. I believe it's him who did the narrator, or the AI that you're dealing with. And it's not quite the same standard. So he's talking, and then your character's talking back, but your character sounds like he was voiced by someone who isn't a voice actor compared to the person he's talking to, who is, which is a little bit jarring and a bit odd.
Yeah.
But the sound design is really good. Visually, it looks really good as well. Like, I like the way it looks. But there's no substance to it. Like, there's no depth to the game. As I was playing it, it was going on and on. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit in the video, and I'm going to skip ahead 10 minutes. So this is like a good couple of levels on. The levels are not very long. And in that time, it's introduced like one more mechanic, which is plates on the ground that when you walk over them, they make a noise. So you are forced to make a noise when you're going past the patrol.
Yeah,
which means the patrol then comes after you. At first, I was like, "Oh, okay, this is funky, because it's adding a new element. This is something I don't have control over. I've got to make a noise, but how do you make the noise and then escape? Because it dictates what you have to do." But again, it's just part of the same puzzle-solving process, which is you've got to sneak past someone that's got like a Metal Gear Solid style code of interaction, and that's it. And it adds an element to it, but it doesn't do anything with it, because it's still basically exactly the same mechanic that you were dealing with in the level before, except you're forced to do it, but the results are still the same. And like, you get further and further on, and I said towards the end of the video, it's like, it looks really good, it sounds really good, the concept is good, but
is it though? My issue with this is we've got like, I mean, I've not played it, or I do have a code to play it, but I've watched your video, and it doesn't look difficult. It looks like one of these games where you're going to complete it no matter if it had 1,000 levels. It's just the time. It almost feels like an iPad game. It feels like, Monument Valley or something like that on the iPad. It's like you've bought it, and it's not difficult, but you're going to complete it, and it's going to have a very high completion rate. So you're going to sit there and you're going to go through the little stealth elements, because it's very easy to see. I mean, the cones, where you see the cones of interaction on the guards, you don't go into that house, you lose. It's so obvious where you need to go, and like it just seems like, to me, if I was playing this after I'd done like literally half an hour like you, I would be like, I'm bored of this game now, and I don't want to keep going again and again because I'm getting bored, and that's just the problem. I just don't think it's a very good idea for a game. I think it's just
this is the thing. The whole one of the things that it makes a big deal out of is, there's no weapons, none of that, no weapons. But they haven't replaced the weapons with anything. Like, they haven't added anything to take the place of the fact that you can fight back. So what you do in the first 10 levels is what you'll do for the rest of the game, it feels like. And I mean, say it feels like, because obviously I'm not played beyond what I played for the video. But the problem with that is that the reason I haven't played beyond what I played in the video is because it wasn't exciting enough to make me want to play the rest. Like, when I finished recording Invisible Ink, I then played a bit more Invisible Ink. When I finished recording Transistor, I then just blasted through Transistor. When I finished playing Volume, I turned it off, and it stayed off, because I felt like all I was going to get for the next 90 levels, because I'd done 10, and I'm pretty sure it's like 1% per level. That's the impression it gave anyway.
Yeah.
I was like, so it's going to be like 90 more levels of that. I don't want to do 90 more levels of that. It's not. I'm just not interested enough. It's not. It just doesn't. It doesn't grab you. It doesn't grab you. It feels like it's got like a shell of a game. It's like someone's gone. Okay, we want sneaking. We want stealth. Want to do a little bit of thing with the sound. So like sound interaction. Distracting the guards and so on. And they've gone. Okay, that's good. That's good. Here's what we've got. And they've gone. Perfect. Send it out. And it's like there's just so much missing. There's nothing else there. And great, like good sound design. I like a game with a good soundtrack and I like good sound design, but you cannot carry an entire game based off how it sounds. Just like I like the visual style of it, but it can look as pretty as it wants. But if there's nothing to do, then I'm not going to want to look at it. And it kind of says something with that kind of thing where, like, Volume has got like a linear progression system. You've got one level after the other. It gradually gets more and more complicated and introduces more kind of admittedly similar features to try and make things more difficult. And yet, after half an hour, I was like, no, I've had enough. Compare that to Time Frame, which I played a few weeks ago. That game had literally no puzzles. It had nothing. It was just wandering around looking at artifacts before a big meteor hit a tower. And I played that to completion, and it was like 2.5 hours in the end. And there was, like, substance-wise, there was less to do in Time Frame, but there was more to appreciate, and there was more to.
It was a better designed game. Yeah. See, this is one of those things where you've got a guy who is like a rock star name and has these doors that open before him, and it's like, is he worthy of this now? This doesn't. I mean, you talk about Invisible Ink, so that's Clay Entertainment. They have made like hit after hit after hit when you look at the games they've made. I mean, they made Shank. That was great. They made this is where I forget the names of the games. The survival game where you're on your own, but you can play it with two player now.
Oh,
Invisible Ink they
Don't
made.
Starve?
Yeah, Don't Starve. And there's another game as well. What did they make?
I can't remember the other. But I've got Invisible Ink up on this on the. I'll switch over to it, and you'll be able to see kind of the similarities. But I mean, obviously the art style
Mark of the Ninja, that was it. Yeah, Mark of the Ninja was the other one. Yeah, but they've like Mark of the Ninja's a stealth game. They've made this company, these guys, they're an indie company. They make games which are, I think, really pretty good. Each one is really pretty good.
Yeah.
They feel really good. Yet when you look at this other guy, old Mike, Thomas Was Alone, okay, fine. But then you've got this, and it just doesn't seem as good. But it just seems because he's a name that he's got the Sony door open in front of him, and they've obviously had some input with this because apparently it's an exclusive, but not really an exclusive, but it's an exclusive. So I don't know. Like it didn't blow me away, and obviously hasn't blown you away. And I just think I would be bored. Anyway, the next game is this is interesting because Unit Lost is obviously a community where people play a lot of different games, and some people got together and started playing World of Warcraft again because of the announcement of Legion.
Yeah.
I was, we've gone over Legion. My thoughts on that and whatever. So I was like, you know what? I've got a 2-month card, which I must have bought years ago and totally forgot about. I'm just going to see if that works for subscription, and it did. It was going to be pretty funny if it didn't. I probably wouldn't be playing, but it worked anyway. So, I started messing around. Kiri decided he'd join me and mess about. Like I said, we got a guild, and it's pretty much just World of Warcraft. But there's a major difference, isn't there? And we were talking about this last night. And I'll let you say it because Kiri is in a very unique situation with how he played it in the past and how he is playing it right now, and the difference is like crazy.
Yeah, well, the way that I used to play World of Warcraft when we first started playing was there was you, me, and another guy that we all met at college. And we played World of Warcraft together, but it was just the three of us, and then eventually it was just us two. He disappeared, and we played Burning Crusade together, doing lots of PvP and stuff, and that was how I played the game. I played the game with you, and it was like that all the way into Wrath, where even when it was time to do instances and stuff, I maybe did 1 or 2 instances by myself, but I didn't really get the urge to play it unless I was playing the game with you, because it's an MMO and it's all about the social experience, ain't it? And yet I never got the urge to log in and hardcore grind instances because I didn't want to play by myself. Yeah. And I think that's partly what stopped me from ever playing World of Warcraft in a serious capacity, because I didn't want to play like a multiplayer game on my own. I've never liked doing that. I've never been a big person for doing that at all. The only time I think I've ever really done that is playing Space Marine Exterminatus, and even then, that is just because it's just a horde mode, and it's like 10 minutes of your life, and then you can just go back to whatever you're doing. It's been like the only exception. And World of Warcraft was always kind of one of those things where it's like, I want to play this game. I want to play this game. I'll start it online. I'll do something else, and that would be it. And so the game just dropped off really quickly every single time, because without someone to play it with, it's just not a fun experience. It's a bit dull. It's a bit like, well, I could do an instance, but then I have to speak to all these people and else on that I know. I'll just go off. I'm not going to bother. It's like playing a completely different game now. Since I reactivated my subscription, I got some heirlooms, started a Death Knight, and got an invite into the Cabbage Crew, which is the guild, and I don't think I had an urge to play WoW this much, even when I was playing it all the time. Because every time I log in, there's someone in the guild to talk to, and there's some sort of interaction. I can log in, and even if there's like only 3 people online, I'll log in and I'll say hello, and immediately there's conversation, and there's people talking. And if I've got a question, if something's gone wrong, like I completely forgot how to get back to Ogrimmar from Thralmar. I just had a brain moment. I was like, I need to go back to the portal, and there's a portal there. I can't remember if there's a portal there where I need to go back into Blasted Lands. I don't want to do that because that's, a long flight. I'll just ask. Now, I've never been in a position in World of Warcraft up until now where I could just go, guys, I'm missing this. What do I do? And someone will go, oh yeah, you can just do this. That didn't happen. You can't do that in like all chat or, general or trade or whatever. You just get no response, or you'd get someone just talking shit, or you get people spamming for gold sellers and all that stuff. And there was no social element to that anyway. It was just like, I'm a noob, I don't know what I'm doing, help me. Now it's like, yesterday I logged on and I was waiting for someone to send me something. And I thought, I'll see if I can get a quick dungeon in. I might have to tank, but I'll see if I can get a quick dungeon. I'll go in, there's a couple of people online. I noticed one guy, Anondir, his name was, and I was like, there's someone online, let's do a dungeon. Did a dungeon. We were in the dungeon together, we were doing it. It was a guy from the guild. There was conversation, there was talk, and it's different. It's like a different game. It is literally like a different game. I'm doing all the same stuff I've already done. I've already done Hellfire Ramparts to death. I've already done the Mana Tombs. I've already done all of the Thralmar quests. I've done all of the stuff in Outland, which is where I am with my Death Knight at the moment, because level 66. And yet, it is far more enjoyable than at any point before, just because of having a guild and having that social interaction, and that fact that if I log in at like, I don't know, I'll probably log in at about 9 o'clock tonight. I know full well that when I log in, there's going to be people online, and I'll be able to say, does anyone want to do this? Does someone want to do an instance? Does someone want to do questing? And there'll be a response. Even if the response is no, you still end up going through the instance. Like I had a tank a couple of days ago that for some reason pulled everything in the room without catching hold of any of the mobs. So they kept trying to beat on the healer, the hunter and the warlock.
Welcome to WoW.
Because I'm playing a Death Knight, I just switched into Blood Presence and started essentially off-tanking so they didn't die on every pull. And I was just in the chat, I was like, in the guild chat going, this tank is mental. I don't know what the hell he's doing. And of course that sparks a big conversation about like crazy encounters with tanks, or mental people going off and pulling everything. And it sounds like, oh well, if you join a guild and enjoy the game more, is a very kind of simple, almost cliche statement, but it is absolutely true, because it's made the game infinitely more enjoyable.
Rogue, I'm going to break it to you. It's not true, because it depends on the type of guild. This is the big thing. Like this is a guild which is forged from fans of Unit Lost. Okay, there are people which have just been invited, but on the whole, it was just people who are from the forums and doing whatever. So
yeah,
already your beliefs, let's say, are in line with theirs, so you can say things in the guild chat and it'll be fine. There are, like, I mean, if you just randomly joined a guild, you may say something which may offend somebody, and then it's bad, and then it's really bad, true. And then you're like, it's a totally different experience. But I find this all very interesting, because I've had this experience, and I've never really thought that you've not had it, although I obviously know that you haven't. Like to have played an MMO and not been part of a larger community of people. Because the fact that it's World of Warcraft is completely irrelevant. It could be any MMO. Because you've got this... Why do people keep logging in to WoW? Why has WoW got the highest subscriber base of any sub MMO. It is not because WoW is the best subscription MMO. It is because the most people played WoW, right? When it launched. Therefore, they forged connections with people which last until today, connections that have gone over 10 years. And they still, in a lot of cases, these people are like their real life friends now, or they know them out of the game. But that is the reason. It is the community, is the reason why people go back to MMOs. That's why you look at the guys who are running the guild. They've played World of Warcraft since it launched, and now they're back again playing the game. But it's because they know people. And it isn't just like, I've just turned up and I'm out of the blue just doing whatever. It's like, no, it's all about community. These MMOs are all about community. And when you fit into a community and it works well and it's a community you want to be part of, it makes them much better, irrelevant of whatever the game is. I mean, in this case, it's WoW, and it makes the game better. Like, you probably notice me, I'll just say stupid things in the chat whenever I log in, because that's what I did in the past when I played EverQuest. You know, I just, generally, it'd be me taking the piss out of somebody for being shit who's in a group with me, or just having a go at, like, I think I was going on about anyone who plays DPS as a retard in the chat. Now, if I said that in a guild, which I didn't know, it wouldn't go down as a joke in, they might, you know, I might get nasty responses, or you might get thrown out of the guild or something like that. And I don't know, but it does make the game way better. I mean, the game itself. Oh, go on.
The thing that's a bit crazy is we've said as much talking about WoW before. It's like that's why people log in, because they've got people who have always logged in with them, and that's what they keep going back. And I was saying that and knowing that to be true without having had that experience. And even
but you kind of did, people... just had it with one person, though. That's the thing, or maybe two at a push. Yeah.
But it's just it's very, in a way, it's a strange experience for me, because it's always been World of Warcraft is always, well, MMOs. I think that's the best way to put it. Not World of Warcraft, because it's been any MMO I've played, has been like a social experience, but only in relation to one person. It's been like it's just been we are both playing the game at the same time, and that's how we end up playing the game. Like the same for Star Wars, the Old Republic, and what is it, Tabula Rasa, that game? Terrible.
Yeah, Warhammer Age of Reckoning.
It's been the same
Age
experience.
of Conan.
Yeah, it's been the same experience every time. And this is like, it's a similar experience, but it feels totally different. It's like, it is still just that social interaction, but it's like, it's almost like the spontaneity of it is what's really grabbed me. The fact that I can log in at any time, and there's always going to be someone online. And
you see that, yes, but what's happened to you though is you've sort of been catapulted forward here. You've not had to have spent the time in the game forging relationships with people, because they've already forged a relationship with you through Unit Lost. So you know you can just be yourself, because they're only here because they like Unit Lost anyway, on the whole. So they know who you are anyway. I had a funny chat with some guy when the guild had just been made, I think, and I just put my subscription on. There was like 2-3 people online, and some guy was like, one of them said something about Unit Lost, and this other guy was like, Unit Lost, what's that? And I said, I don't know, let me Google it. Like, and I'm just taking the piss, and I'm like, looks like some YouTube channel. And I'm like, I don't like this guy, Kirioth. He sounds like a right dickhead. And then I'm getting a message off the other guy who's like a fan of Unit Lost, going, lol, I wonder what he says. The guy just said nothing. He was just like, what? He probably thinking that I'm some nutter calling somebody a dickhead, but I'm Stylosa, you know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck? I'm even called Stylosa in the fucking game. Stupid. But yeah, they are. I mean, you'll probably. It's good, I think, that you're having this experience, because you're in an ideal guild. People know who you are. You can play the game, and you can literally just play the game now. You don't have to be like. I mean, you were playing it last night before because I had a little go on it last night, but you were already playing it. You know, and it's like, that speaks volumes. It's like, well, there you go. You don't have to wait around for me. Like, I don't have to wait around for you. I mean, the game itself, though, seems very fast to level. I mean, it might just be because.
God, yeah.
I mean, I was joking with you when you do /played, it tells you how long you've played at the level.
Yeah.
And I was 78% into a level, and I'd been playing at that level for 1 minute and 20 seconds or something. And I'm like level 34 or something at this point. I'm just like, I mean, I played for not even 40 minutes last night, and I think I did almost 4 levels. It was just stupid.
Yeah. I had a couple of hours yesterday in total, but I went.
It's tanking instances, like that's what I was doing, just going into instance runs over and over again.
I've been doing the same thing, but because I went from like, I'm pretty sure I started the day at 61 thinking about it, and I ended up at level 66 and 85% in at that.
Yeah.
And I was going through instances, and then coming out the other end, and I've leveled, and I'm doing /played, and it's been time played this level 30 seconds, and I've been like 45% into the level, and it's just like, holy shit. I remember when going through Outland was a right grind. Like it took ages and ages, and the addition of these heirlooms and stuff is just crazy.
They do have to speed it up to get you to the end of the game. But
I do like.
Do you
the
really
fact
want to be in Warlords?
Because it's like I don't want to be in Outland. I want to be in Wrath because Wrath is really close now. I can start doing Wrath instances at 68, I believe.
Yeah.
And Wrath is my favorite expansion, so I'm looking forward to getting to that point where I'm not even going to have left Thralmar. Like I haven't even completed half the quest.
I ain't even left Orgrimmar. I'm just standing in Orgrimmar.
But it's really good. And the thing is, having the guild and having that, just being able to talk to people and having that kind of almost like a boosted community experience where I haven't had to go through the stage of learning the people in the guild because I know who they are already, and getting used to people kind of means that I kind of started out thinking I'll give it a go, but really I'm only interested in seeing what Legion is like PvP. I can honestly see myself like maybe not playing it every night because I don't think I'd have the time, especially happening next year. But I can see myself logging in a couple of times a week, and not just for PvP, but just running instances with the guild, or maybe trying to raid once every now and again, or doing stuff that I would not have done with World of Warcraft otherwise. And I really like the fact that it's a game I'm really familiar with, but it still feels new and different, just down to that, just because of that one aspect. I really like that. All I've got to do is just try not to get caught in the whole logging in every day to check for money and mail and play in the auction house and shit, because that
I don't think you can even play the auction house anyway. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I think other games I played this week have been kind of minimal, to be honest. I messed around a little bit on Command and Conquer, but I don't want to talk about that again because I've spoken about that fucking loads. So I don't want to talk about it again. Destiny. We had to go with Destiny, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. I forgot about that. Yeah, we did a couple of strikes, didn't we?
Yeah. Which were the fucking same strikes we did fucking... And it even had the audacity to give us that fucking stupid General Mars one again after we'd done it.
Yeah, it gave us twice. What a load of bollocks.
And we just quit. We just was like, that's what... Yeah. We did two, didn't we? Then on the... We did the Mars one first, and then we did the... Wow, they're so good, I've just forgot. We did a different... Oh, no, we didn't do the Mars one first. We did the Crazy Eyeball one first. Yeah. The Nexus one, where the shield rotates around it.
Yeah.
And then we did the Mars one.
And then it was the one against the, what are they called? The massive guys with the jump packs and the shields.
The Legion. I think they're just called the Legion or something. Legionnaires or something. I don't know. The Cabal. That's it. I think they're called the Cabal. And then it put us in the same one again after we finished that, and we were like, no, thank you, goodbye. Yeah, it's Destiny. You are a weird game, but its expansion's coming out.
Yeah.
In like a couple of weeks, and I think, well, we'll get it for free, no doubt. So we'll take another look at it, but. I am just like, at that moment when me and you were playing it, we both got no loot at all. That was of any use. I got maybe 4 blue items. You get one at each. Well, I got 1. Some people got 2 actually at the end of the strikes, but I got 1 for each strike, and I found 2 just floating around, and they were completely useless to me. Yeah. And this was a level appropriate strike. It was a 26 strike, wasn't it? Because I think we're 26. You're 24, and I'm 20. Yeah. So it should have been like gearing for us, but it was just I had better anyway, and I just was like, what?
And I was like, maybe I've got enough Vanguard marks to get something, but of course my Vanguard reputation is not high enough, and you get like 5 marks per strike or something, and it cost 125 for what I was looking at, so I had like 50, and it was just, at that point I was like,
I had enough. I had enough coins for the Vanguard stuff. I had like 140 or something, but I couldn't buy anything because I didn't have no Vanguard reputation yet. I had all the coins, so maybe that's because when I was doing the thing, I wasn't carrying the bounty for the Vanguard reputation or something. So I have no reputation with them because some of the stuff required like level 3, and I could have bought it, and they were like really good. They look powerful weapons, but I couldn't buy them because I don't have no rep.
I don't know. I keep looking at the changes for the Taken King, and I'm like, this looks really good. But then I play the game, and the game is just exactly the same as it was, and it feels the same, and
it was no different at all, was it?
Same. It's like, it's weird. It's like going into something that's been in stasis. It's just no different. And I know the big changes are coming in the Taken King, but then again, is it going to feel that different? Because it's stuff like, I was looking at stuff like, oh well, You've got normal levels now, not light levels. That's quite a cool change. I like that. But realistically, what difference does that make? Because it's all based on experience. But then once you get to level 40, there's going to have to be some progression from there, isn't there?
Yeah.
And then I see stuff about there being light on the ghosts and how you can get ghosts that buff some of your stats and stuff. And so I'm like, so there is still light. That's still a thing. In which case, once you get to 40, is it just back to this exactly the same grind as it is now, where you're looking for gear with light on it? In which case, there's no difference there whatsoever. So it looks like it's going to be different, but then when you're playing the Taken King, are you in fact going to be playing it going, no, this is exactly the same as when I played it last month and the month before and the 6 months before that. It's still exactly the same game. Nothing's different. It's all just going to be, I feel like it is. I feel like all the changes in Taken King look great on paper and they will be utterly indistinguishable in the actual game.
I mean, there must be some reason to play Destiny because Destiny is quite popular.
Addiction.
Yeah, Destiny is quite popular. And if you look, there are some popular streamers that stream to like 10,000 viewers regularly with Destiny. And if you watch their stream, every time I load them up, I know where they are. And I played the game for like 2-3 weeks maybe. But it's like, I know that they're in old Russia in the Cosmodrome or something running around. I'm very familiar with I might not know the name exactly, but I know where they are. It's like, okay, I've seen that before. None of it looks new. Some of the raid stuff, I've not been in the raid, so I don't know anything about that. But I watch them and I'm thinking, why are people playing it? What are they doing? They must have all the gear by now. And all they're doing is they're doing the strike missions on the playlist and then doing like the individual strikes and other stuff to get these strange coins to buy stuff off that guy who turns up every weekend, essentially. Yeah. And I said essentially, but that is essentially what they are doing. Or they use them to buy, or they get other currency to buy the bits and pieces. And they're just doing the same content over and over again for different forms of currency to then spend on different stuff until they've got the best in slot. But some stuff like that Jellohorn thing was a really rare drop until last weekend where they put it on the dealer and it went nuclear. I mean, I remember I went to Reddit and Destiny was on the front page of Reddit. I was like...
The Destiny subreddit, because Gjallarhorn was being sold, the mods just took the day off and just said, do whatever you like. Today's a day of celebration. It's just like a stupid big meme thing for the community.
But wasn't it the best weapon in the game? That big rocket launcher. I think it still
is. I think Gjallarhorn is still the best weapon in the game, from what people were saying on
I
the
know
subreddit.
It was sold the first couple of weeks by that vendor, and nobody knew what it was like because people were like, "Fucking, I ain't spending 17 in my coins or whatever they had it." Because you get like one a day or something ridiculous of these coins. Yeah. And then it was a drop, and it was this. I think, like you said, it became this meme where it was dead rare and it was super powerful, and it's almost like the last hurrah of standard Destiny before the expansion comes out. They're letting everybody buy it, so they waste all their coins. So then when the guy turns up in 2 weeks' time with better gear, they've got to grind their coins back again, you know?
One of the things that I saw was a thread where some guy was like, I've got enough strange coins to buy like 5 Gjallarhorns. If this post gets 3,000 upvotes, I'll buy them and then dismantle them. So he did. And I was just like, the coins are still going to be useful next expansion. Like,
maybe they change the currency. So that's probably what I'd do if I was Bungie, to make you regrind again. So that would also work. But yeah, I don't know. I'd like. It's weird. I like the idea of playing Destiny, but then I play it and I'm massively underwhelmed. I enjoy it, but like as you say, it was like we did 2 strike missions. We got the same strike mission as the first one given to us for the third. Now we could have easily just left that strike mission and did another one, but we didn't. We were both like, oh, fuck off. And then we just closed the game. Just turned it off. That says a lot, because it's like, if you really wanted to play it, if you really wanted to be, into Destiny, you would just leave the strike mission, or you'd do it again, or you'd find another one, or you'd go away for 5 minutes and then come back and do something else, or go and get a drink. Well, us complaining about the strike we were doing, like, you can just do any strike you'd like. You can just pick them and go and do them. But I mean, like, we were doing it in the playlist for reward or something you get. I don't know what it was. Yeah, I know. I don't know. It's just it is a weird game. I mean, I've said before, and I'll kind of say it again, and I don't know whether this is true or what, but if it was on PC, I'd play the shit out of it, but then it'd still be the same as it was on console. It'd just be a better FPS and it'd look slightly better, but it would still be the same game. the Taken King will be interesting, and it is very similar to World of Warcraft, I guess, with Warlords when that came out, and it had jack shit content. After a week, you just didn't care. It's only really the crazy people who constantly go back who have been on the garrison every day, and it's like the crazy people in Destiny who have been and done every strike, every weekly strike since then, just because they want all the drops and go into the Iron Banner thing whenever that's on and all of that crap. Are they going to be able to provide enough content to keep you going until they do their next DLC drop, which is probably within 2 to 3 months of the Taken King expansion, if you were to play it every day? Because they want you to play this game solidly, don't they? They want you to play the game for like 4 hours a day at least.
The thing is, it's like we don't, but obviously a lot of people do, and I'd argue that there wasn't enough content to begin with. There still isn't enough content now because we're still getting the same bloody content we did when the game launched, so therefore it can't have enough to keep going. And yet Destiny's all over the front page of Reddit because Galahorn's being sold. There's clearly a massive community for it, and they're still like
we said, didn't we? I don't know which one of us said this, but we said it when we were doing the strike. But it's sort of like the WoW for the console generation. This is, or like the League of Legends for the console generation, where it's this game where you can just keep going back and play. It's almost like people are just mindlessly playing it. I think they're just like playing Destiny. I'm playing Destiny, and it's just I'm playing Destiny kind of thing. And then you've got this big. I mean, I laughed when I was at the wedding a couple of months ago, and people were talking to me about Destiny, and I just didn't think. I was just like, I honestly thought no fucker was playing that game. I thought it just was shit. I thought they all played COD, but no, it was all Destiny. I'm playing Destiny. I'm doing this Destiny, and I'm just thinking, well, it's surreal. It is surreal.
It's just weird. It's just crazy. I think like if it was on PC, I'd probably try and play it a little bit more, but I don't know that I'd ever get sucked into it as badly as some people have. Because as you say, it would still just be an FPS. Like I like the special ability side of things, and like you can kind of switch up what your character does a bit. But really, is it anything that special? If we're honest, it's got an okay setting with zero lore. Right, it might have lore, but it requires me to go to a separate site to read it. And it's never explained to me, so I'm not going to do that. And I'd argue that most people don't either. But on top, like apart from that, what really are the mechanics? It's just an FPS. It's just an FPS. Most of the units shoot back at you, either with some sort of AOE or just a normal, projectile that you need to dodge. And occasionally you'll get guys who try to explode on you or stab you. In case you just backwards and shoot them instead of hiding behind cover and then shooting them. It's really not that. It's not groundbreaking. It's not inventive. It's not exceptional in anything it does. It's just an okay FPS. But somehow, it's massively addicting to a huge number of people. And despite the fact that I've just said it's an okay FPS, I still kind of want to play it. But I can't work out why. It's almost like I want to play it to work out why the fuck I want to play it. Because every time I do play, I'm like, that was all right. And that's it. That's my entire reaction. I'm not sitting there going, oh, I've got to have some more of that. Or, oh, if I do this again, I might be getting this piece of loot. I'm just like, oh, that was all right. And then that's it. But yeah, I still kind of want to play Destiny, and I don't understand why. And it's scary. I don't like it.
It's just the addiction thing. It's like when we went on about well, anyway, Diablo 3's update will be out soon for you, won't it?
Yeah.
The box thing. Kyanai's Cube, whatever it's called. Kyanai's Cube.
I don't know whether I'll go back to Diablo 3 though. Honest.
I might. Well, when it comes out, I'm going to stream it. You can come and play it with me when I stream it.
Yeah,
that's what I'll do.
Because I've got my Crusader to T6, but I'm not too fussed now because that's like the end of the game for me for that character. I know it sounds weird, but
what about hardcore? Why don't you ever make hardcore characters? Like, what's the deal with like playing a character that has just got no danger of ever dying and he's just running around slamming shit?
Oh, because it sounds stupid, but hardcore hasn't really got that much of a risk either.
No, I mean, I guess not.
Because like that's one of the big things that makes me laugh with streamers when it's like, oh, he's doing a hardcore run. His character gets killed, he gets lag, he gets cocky, he runs into a pack of mobs to murder him, and then he just switches between two friends doing quests, and he's immediately max level again, and he just carries on as though it didn't happen. And it's like, admittedly, I don't have two friends to constantly do quests to level me. But it wouldn't be that hard to set that up. Like, it's not like I'd be like, that hardcore character's gone, I'm fucked, I can't do anything else. You just start another character and just do the same thing over and over again. So, yeah, I don't know. I'll play it probably, but I don't think I'll get back into it the way I have before. It seems really unlikely that I'll get caught up in Diablo 3 again now, because I've got the character I like the most to the highest torment level, and really the only thing left to do after that is make it so that character's invincible in Torment 6, and I don't really care about it being invincible in Torment 6 because that was my goal in the first place, to get it there, and it's there now, so I'm done. Like, that character is for me done. I could keep grinding, I could keep going back, trying to get better loot and more ancient gear and all this kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, I've done what I want to do with the character, so it's finished.
There comes a point, doesn't there, where you're good enough. It's like you don't need every single best in slot item to be good. It's sort of the same, I guess, with World of Warcraft at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I mean, you're ultimately playing the game for the achievements of defeating certain raid bosses and whatever, I guess.
Yeah.
But once you've done that, keep going back and doing them again. They have to be very good encounters to make you do them, or there has to be a point like you're helping somebody else get gear or something. Whereas with Diablo, you could be helping other people get gear, but you're only really helping 3 other people. It's not like you're helping a shitload of people. But I mean, Diablo is, I guess, a little bit of a different example because you do so much damage anyway, and I'd imagine that your character is pretty fucking invincible as it is in T6.
Yeah, it doesn't
unless a certain type of horror show.
It takes ages to kill anything, but it doesn't really die. It's got a load of defense. It's just not got quite enough attack, but it's not at any risk of capitulating. So it's just, it's quicker to run T5 because I can kill stuff in there. But it's like that. If that's criteria for getting me to play more, that at some point it might be quicker to kill stuff in T6, then I'm not going to play anymore because it's like I can already. It's
almost like a pointless thing. Yeah, it's pointless. You're not actually going anywhere, are you? You're still in the same place, just doing it faster.
Thing. Yeah, and it's like it is slightly different in WoW because you are like grinding to get to the next raid. You're grinding to the next difficult boss, the next big thing. Whereas Diablo 3 at this point for me is just grinding for the sake of grinding. It's like I'm getting better at looking for stuff to make me better at looking for stuff, and that's just like. Where's the boss? Where's the end goal? Where do you stop?
Sort of like with Destiny and its light level system, although I know that's going to be changed. That it is pushing you through the same content, but it is making it harder and harder and harder. And you do have the thing of light level is like your fucking EP and say it's like, look at me, I'm light level 32 or something. I've seen people running around and I'm thinking, well, I'm like 26. That would just take me probably months of play to get to that level with the drops required. Like, there's probably a quicker way, but I'm not down with the Destiny Crucible. I don't fucking know. That's all I've played this week.
That's everything from it. It's so fun. Why is it so hot in here?
Well, I've probably played World of Warships by the time you listen to this, or maybe streamed it. But yeah, I haven't played it yet, so take that. Buso.
As always, Pubcast is brought to you by Patreon. If you want to support us making Pubcast on Hotfix, then click the linky up there or click the linky down there. If you support us before the next Hotfix, you get a shout out at the start of said Hotfix. Not before, because that involves time travel, which is impossible. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Tell them what time the stream goes live every day, Blythe, or every day that you stream.
When I stream, it goes live at 6 PM BST, when possible. I'd like that time at the moment. Sometimes I feel like I want to stream a bit earlier, but then sometimes I feel like I want to stream a bit later because I hate streaming. But yeah, basically 6 every day apart from a Thursday. Is what I've been targeting, but there may be later streams on some days if I just can't because I'm just of the mindset if I'm just doing something which isn't like crazy, because sometimes I need to rest my voice. Like if I'm doing something where I can just sit and just have a casual chat with the chat on the stream, then I don't mind throwing the stream up late. Like when me and you do like the odd late night stream and stuff, I don't mind that. The best thing to do is just make sure you keep your eyes on Twitter or follow the channel so you get an update when it goes live. But 6 PM every day, apart from a Thursdays when it goes live. And on Wednesdays, it's the Warhammer Wednesday painting stream, which is always on a Wednesday. And on Sunday, it's a subscriber stupid stream. We'll have to work out what that is, though, because we've done Quiplash twice.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll do it again.
Need a fresh one.
Well, Quiplash really kills me to do, because I have to, like... to sit down and play like 10 games of Quiplash or whatever the hell it is, you just get destroyed. It's like, oh my god. That's when the answers are stupid.
And you get people turning up and being horrendously offensive. But
I'm horrendously offensive anyway.
All the time.
Yeah, I'm not going to repeat what I said, but there you go.
No, probably better not to. So this has been Pubcast. Come back next Thursday at 7 p.m. for Hotfix. I'm not going to tell you why it's at 7 p.m. again because people have already asked and no one listens. But it's 7 p.m. on Thursday now. So come back then for Hotfix and obviously come back next Saturday for Pubcast. And we'll see you then.
Toodaloo.